Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. The 2027 presidential election may be 3 years away, but the North is determined to snatch power away from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And one of the strategies they want to use to get power back, which they think will work for them, was to give or bribe Southeast with vice presidential ticket, and then hope to harvest some votes there, then close down the North and ignore the Southwest. That is one of the strategies they are banking on to regain power after power left the North and entered the hand of the Southwest, or the South, if you like. They are thinking that they can lock down the North, harvest vote from South, South, and Southeast, and they ignore the Southwest. That had always been the old strategy. It had always been the old strategy. It was this strategy that made the Southwest the bastion of opposition politics in Nigeria. The North used this strategy shortly after independence. The North used the same strategy during the Second Republic. It was a strategy that was used effectively to put the Southwest in opposition and led to the emergence of the presidency of Alhaji Shehu Shagari and Dr. Alex Ekweme. It was a strategy in which the North used to sideline the Action Congress, the action group of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and Zeke and Tafawa Balewa worked together. Zeke became president. Tafawa Balewa became prime minister. They want to resuscitate it again. That is the strategy they think will work for them. And they're also banking on the failure of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because already the northern elites are beginning to make the local people to understand. In fact, local people don't need to be made to understand. They're already seeing it. That what they used to buy a mudu of rice under Buhari is higher than what they are buying today under Tinubu. So telling them not to support Tinubu is an easy job. Telling the Talakawas, the ordinary people, not to support Tinubu's re-election is a foregone conclusion, because the economy is not on the side of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that is what is playing out. That is what Sheikh Hussaini saw the other day and talked about it, that they are regrouping. But the major strategy they want to use is to see that they could lock down the North. But they have forgotten that this is not 1960s. This is not 1970s. We are talking about 2024, and we are talking about 2027. This is because one of the things they want to do is to see how they can convince the former governor of Anambra State and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election, who many presumed won the 2023 presidential election, and it was allegedly stolen from him, to be a running mate to Atiku Abubakar or any other person the North will pump up as a rallying point to ensure that they snatch power away from Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. But like I said, these people are not concerned about fairness, justice, and equity. They are not concerned about the fact that the North has produced the presidency or the president for 8 years under President Muhammadu Buhari. And that even based on the principle of federal character, fairness, justice, and equity, power is not supposed to return back to the North barely 4 years after it left the North. Common sense dictates that power is supposed to reside in the South for 8 years, just as it did in the North for 8 years under Muhammadu Buhari. We know how the North kicked when they felt that President Goodluck Jonathan administration usurped their position, their 8 years. They united and ensured that he was kicked out. We know that Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, God bless his soul, was supposed to do 8 years, but due to health challenges, he died after about 3.5 years in office. He was sworn in on May 29, 2007. He died 2010. He died 2010. He was about 3.5 years in office. The North did everything, including the man that some of them are pushing up now, Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar at that time insisted that the power should be in the North because Yar'Adua just died. They didn't want even Jonathan to stay more than completing that tenure. Even to complete that tenure, it was a tug of war. Only the Senate doctrine of necessity that made Jonathan to occupy the position as acting president, and then when the man died, he became the president. When that happened, the North was livid. They wanted, after 8 years of Obasanjo, that they should also have their own 8 years. Now, this same North that was not happy that Jonathan contested in 2011, which they believe was supposed to be their own turn. And they did everything to ensure that his government fell. So that by 2015, all we know about Jonathan was that the administration was corrupt. Now we know better that the Jonathan administration was perhaps one of the most transparent administrations in Nigeria's history since 1999 or thereabouts. Because if you look at what had happened under the APC administration, you know that Jonathan administration and his ministers, they were indeed saints. So that is the same people that are trying to ensure that the South does not have 8 years in power. Now, why should they think that the bait they want to throw to South, South, and Southeast is going to work? Why do they think that it is fair that power should stay only 4 years in the South and then be grabbed back? Already you can hear people like former Secretary to the Federal Government, Baba Shilawa. He was a staunch supporter of Peter Obi in the last election. Now he is telling everybody who cares to listen that North cannot survive without power by 2027. That everything has to be done, that power should return to the North. And that they are going to work to ensure that. Now this is Baba Shilawal that was upset about the Christian Muslim ticket because he himself is a Christian from Adamawa State. He was against the Muslim ticket of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for which he supported Peter Obi. Now himself is part of those who want power to return to the North after barely 4 years. And they think that they can use Peter Obi or anybody from the Southeast to bribe Southeast and then take over the South and ignore the Southwest, so that Southwest will revert to its usual tradition of opposition. You know, people who don't understand Nigeria's political history, they think that the romance between the North and Southwest now that had always been this situation in the country. In fact, 2015 was the first time the Southwest had collaborated with the North and there was no crisis. If you look at all the crises in the Southwest after independence and before independence, it's all about the fact that some section of the Southwest elite went behind the back of Awolowo to go and form alliance with the North, and it led to all kinds of crises. This is the first time 2015 was the first time they had a successful union. And the North now is feeling shortchanged for whatever reason after Buhari had been in power for 8 years. They can't endure another 4 years from the South after 2027. But that is not, they're not being fair to people of Southern Nigeria. They're not being fair because they ought to be living with the mantra, do unto others what you would like them to do unto you. Okay. If the North is fed up with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the best thing they ought to do is to rally around Peter Obi. Rally around Peter Obi, the man who was presumed to have won the election of 2027, but it was allegedly taken away from him through rigging. Build a coalition around him. Already, Peter Obi has a good vice presidential candidate in Dati Baba Ahmed. so that Peter Obi can complete the southern turn in the presidency, 8 years. So that after Peter Obi, Dati Baba Ahmed, because there's no point, but Dati Baba Ahmed will become a president, and the North will take over through Dati Baba Ahmed. Because right now, the idea that Peter Obi should come and be vice presidential candidates to Atiku Abubakar, as many of them are wishing, are pushing for. I don't know how that is going to be acceptable to people of southern Nigeria. Because the truth be told, after only 4 years of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it will be unfair for power to return back to the North in 2027. Because if the North were in a position that the South is right now, the North will not accept such a thing. They will want power to stay in the North. And it is a common sense that all of us have seen all the time. For example, we know that in 2019, the reason the PDP nominated a northern presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, was because the PDP understood that with Buhari being a northern president or northern presidential candidate, who was a sitting president at the time, he had done 4 years by 2019. It therefore means that if Buhari was defeated in 2019, the power is not going to the North, it's not going to the South. The power will still remain in the North. That was why you had two northern candidates. That was why you had two northern candidates, Atiku Abubakar and Muhammadu Buhari, in 2019. That is what is expected in 2027. So that the two candidates that will slug it out in 2027 should be Peter Obi and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. With the North, if they're able to close down the North as they are plotting to do, close down the North, then Peter Obi will lock down the South, South, and Southeast. It's a foregone conclusion that Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be a one-term president. That is what they can do. That will be fair before man and God. But any other thing they are doing, all these they are plotting, hoping that Peter Obi will accept vice presidential candidate to Atiku Abubakar or to anybody, so that they will grab power from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That will damage the credentials, political credentials of Peter Obi if he accepts such a thing. It will damage his political credentials if he accepts such a thing. And if he agreed to such a thing, I don't know how it's going to work out. Because truth be told, after 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, power ought to stay in the South for 8 years and then return to the North, since it has now become accepted that power rotates between North and South. But left to me, we have to constitutionalize it, that power rotates along 6 geopolitical zones. Because right now, the way it is zoned between North and South has marginalized some geopolitical zones out of the presidency. That's what I think ought to be the case. Put it in the Constitution, written in black and white, that the presidency will be rotated across the 6 geopolitical zones. But now that what we have as made for us by politicians is that power rotates between North and South. And now that the North is unhappy with Bola Ahmed Tinubu and they want him to be a one-time president, they cannot therefore insist that the power should return to them. Rather, if what they are doing is altruistic, is for somebody who is better than Tinubu, who is much more prudent, who is much more transparent, much more credible, much more acceptable, takes over in 2027, and that person should be Peter Obi. Then we now know that their motive for wanting to make Tinubu a one-time president is altruistic, and they can easily be done if they can lock down the North, lock down South, South, and Southeast. It's a foregone conclusion. And that, as I said, had been the practice the North had used since independence. So if that is what they want to do, for it to work, they have to build that alliance around Peter Obi presidency with a Northern vice president. That is my take. But any other thing they are plotting to make Peter Obi vice president to Atiku Abubakar or to anybody, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think that it is going to work. And if it is the reason why they want Peter Obi back to PDP, they have lost it. Peter Obi can't return to PDP to be a vice president. He's going to be the presidential candidate. They have to make it clear that he is going to be the presidential candidate. Even if Peter Obi is not in PDP, if he remains in Labour Party, let everybody from the North across the country rally around him to ensure that the presidency stays in the South for fairness, justice, and equity, and particularly to the Southeast that has never tested the presidency since 1999. Already, as I have said before in previous video, the Southwest has over-enjoyed the presidency. Obasanjo was there for 8 years. Professor Yemi Osibanjo was there for 8 years as vice president, making 16 years for one geopolitical zone. Then added to 4 years of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that's making it 20 years. That should be enough for the Southwest. But you cannot try to grab that power from them and take it to the North. If you want to grab the power from them, grab it and ensure that it goes to the Southeast. That is the way that you can do it. It will be fair before man and God. That is my take on all these plots to bribe the Southeast with the vice presidential ticket in order to grab power back from Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. And meanwhile, All these books, the books you see pinned on the screen, these are my books. You can get them in Google. At the description box, I put the link that will take you to Amazon. Sorry, you can get it from Amazon or any other place where books are sold. But on Amazon, you can make an order through it. Go through some of these books. They are interesting books that you can't put them down when you start reading them. Do that as part of your support for this channel. Thank you for watching this to this level, and God bless you and yours.